Now that we're using more technology in higher education teaching and learning, it will be important to think about doing peer review in different kinds of context, for example, hybrid or totally online courses. In these situations, many of the same questions that we care about in traditional settings are also important. Are the course goals clear? Do the assessment methods and the learning activities align with the goals? But again, there are some other questions that will be important to address. Things like screen design, the social presence of the instructor in an online environment, and things like navigation and whether the links work or not. Now, we may be a bit uncomfortable doing peer review in these online settings, but there are some important things to remember. The reviewer in hybrid or totally online courses has two main advantages, and these are time and space. For the time advantage, this means that the review can be done almost any time. Assuming that the reviewer has access to the course, the reviewer can peruse the course materials, look at the course interactions at their own time. No longer would it be necessary to make an appointment to do a classroom observation. Space is another consideration. Space allows us, for example, to be reviewed by someone at a distance. So, for example, if we teach a unique course or we have something that we think would be very appropriate for a reviewer who is not at our institution to review, peer review becomes much easier if our materials are online. It also allows a peer reviewer from our own institution to review our course at their own location rather than coming to our own classroom. In most cases of hybrid or totally online teaching and learning, it will be very easy to access the materials that offer you a good view of the course. Most materials are going to be archived in a learning management system, file, or a website, and with the instructor's permission, you'll be able to see the syllabus, any online resources the instructor provides for students, the interaction between student and instructor through email or discussion forums, even possibly with the instructor's permission, how the work is graded and how feedback is provided to the students. In hybrid courses, you'll be able to have these materials as well as classroom observation should you want to add something about the in-class dimension of these courses. In these forms of peer review, as in other forms of peer review, it will be pretty important to have some sort of guidelines or criteria to use in doing the review. Hopefully your department or your program unit has agreed on some things that they think are very important in assessing good teaching, and you'll be able to use checklists or other kinds of forms that have been developed for face-to-face teaching and adapt those to online teaching. You'll be able to look at things like whether the instructor has provided appropriate learning activities. You'll be able to think about whether the instructor has interacted in constructive ways with students, and so on. In addition to these general criteria used in peer reviews of hybrid or online instruction will also address technical considerations, such as the legibility of the fonts, the ease of navigation, the quality of the images used. And they'll also look at instructor dimensions, such as how does the instructor orient students to the class? How does the instructor respond to requests for help? How does the instructor continue the motivation levels of students over the course of the semester for good retention rates? All of these criteria are beginning to show in lists that are available in newly issued books on peer review of teaching or online learning. I think I would advise you to check with your Center for Teaching and Learning to see if any of these forms are available for your use and adaptation. Another thing that's really important in peer review of hybrid or totally online courses is context. For example, we've all heard of MOOCs, massive open online courses. These are primarily designed as lifelong learning type opportunities, even though some of them do carry credit possibilities. In these situations, we wouldn't expect high instructor-student interaction in terms of the kind of interaction we would expect in a synchronous online classroom with 20 students or more. So it's important to be very realistic about what we expect from the kind of format that we're reviewing. Finally, in courses that are hybrid or totally online, it's important to stay consistent with many of the guidelines that we always offer for peer review of teaching. And this would be to have a pre-conference meeting with the instructor, to learn more about the course, and to have a post-review interaction with the instructor so that we're able to give good feedback. Because peer review in online or hybrid courses has the same objective as peer review of traditional courses, and that is to give the instructor the best feedback that we can about the learning that is taking place.